Hello everybody, it's Beverleigh here over at Crafting Chaos with part 7 or day 7 of our Christmas series, the 7th day of Christmas, and we're going to be making a snowman scene using a stencil. So I've gone over to the free stencil gallery.com and I've located this snowman by just typing in at the search area snowman, and there are several different ones that you could try. And I want to make a scene, and I'm going to use this snowman to turn it into a scene. So all you do is click on it and then save the image as and save image as snowman stencil. Make sure you know where you can find it. Save it on an area where you know you're going to be able to find it. So I'm just going to put it on my desktop and say save. So then there's a couple of things that we need to look at, because you will also need to download, well, if you're going to follow my tutorial, you'll need to download, just 1 minute, this file, because we just want the snowflake from that one. And also, where is it now? Coffee one, this one, because I'm going to want one of these swirls here, just one of them. So all you do for that is click on it, and it gives you this picture preview, and you'd click on this one, which would then put it onto your mat, and then save it into your saved area, locate the piece that you need, and then we'll take it from there. So you'll need this one in your saved area, so you click on this one here and give it a name and save it. And also this one, again, click on it, click on this part here, which will load it onto your mat on the computer, and then save that. Then you're ready to start, as long as you've downloaded your snowman from Snowman Stencil. So now I'm going to start with a new project. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trace that snowman image. So I'm going to click on trace the image, going to choose the file, so I put it on my desktop. There it is, the snowman. Bring it in. I'm going to drag it up so that I'm not getting the words as well, and also down a little so it knows where I want it to trace. And I'm going to see how it looks. I'm going to lower down those and click preview and see where we're at. And we're looking for it to trace. If it doesn't trace on that, try it in colour. And once you've got that turquoise lines all the way around the shape, you know you're okay. So say okay. Do I want the image? No. So I just want the actual traced snowman. So then you put him onto your desktop, and at the minute you can see he's all in bits. So I'm just going to leave him like that for now, and I'm going to select everything and group it, and then I'm going to resize it. Now I'm going to have like a big daddy snowman and 2 children, if you will. So I'm going to duplicate it, and this one's going to go off to the right, and I'm going to shrink that one down like so. And again, I'm going to duplicate it, and this time I'm going to flip it on this axis here, the vertical axis, so it'll be looking the opposite direction. It's like the mirror image, and I'm going to shrink that down a little bit as well. Okay, so that's where we're up to. I am going to just rotate it ever so slightly, and I'm going to do the same with this one, but so it's not touching, and hutch it in a little bit so that he's closer to daddy, if you will, and the girl's going to move in closer as well, like so. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try customising them a little bit so that they look a bit more different than what they are now. So first of all, I'm going to break that one apart, and I'm going to start by deleting the hat, and I'm going to bring on a basic shape, and I'm going to bring on a sort of rounded shape, and I can find it, this one, and I'm going to shrink it down on the here and also here. So what I'm looking to make is like sort of a band for on top of this snowman's head, if you will. So it's going to need to be smaller than that, but I'm just getting the idea. I'm just going to shrink it down, and again here, and I'm going to bring it in. Like so. Oops. So again, I'm just going to rotate it ever just so slightly, and I'm going to move it up and away, and I'm going to add a semicircle that I need to bring on next. So I'm going to bring on this, and I'm just going to zoom in so I can see what we're doing. So what we're going to do now is try to make some, I'm going to just change the nodes on this a little bit, because I want it just to, I'm going to hide the control point so I know I'm actually getting the nodes. So I just want it to bend down just a little bit, so it's not quite so perfectly shaped. And I'm just going to shrink it back down again. See where we're looking. Bring it in, and I'll double click to expose the nodes. And I want this one down here a little bit so that it's following kind of the shape of the snowman's head underneath. And I'm going to add a node in between, not there. I'll double click again, and I want to add a node there in that middle, so that then I can just bend that up ever so slightly and make it a curve. Okay, so then I'm going to double click again, and I'm going to make it a curve here and here, like so. So then I can move this around like so, and it's curving now nicely. We'll bring that one down. So you can play around with this as much as you like when you're happy with the shape. And I'm reasonably happy with this one now. I'm just going to get it a little bit more central and bring this one down. And what I'm aiming for is now to bring this a bit closer to the head, like so. And I'm going to shrink this right down, and I'm going to flip it round. And what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to take this piece out, and I'm going to remove this stick, the arm if you will, off this one. So I'm just going to overlap that shape with this shape and use that to cut it with. So I'm just going to process the overlap, remove the overlap, and as you can see now it's actually got rid of that. So now I'm going to just tidy the nodes up here a little bit. So I'm just going to remove that one. So what I don't want is anything sharp edges. So again, double clicking, clicking on that one, I'm going to minus that node, and that's okay now. So I'm going to view fit to matte, and I'm going to move the body back in like so, and I'm going to edit, and I think I might just change the size of the nose a little and shrink it down, because I want it to be a little bit more, a bit smaller nose, like so. And then I'm going to add this over here, so it could be like ear muffs rather than a hat. So I'm just manoeuvring this. I'm going to lose the scarf off this one I think as well, so I can just put that there. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to seal that one up as well. So I'm just going to bring on a new head, if you will, and I'm going to shrink it down, so making a completely new head for this snowman just by making an oval like so, so that I can actually get the, so this is how you can play around with files and make them your own, or you could have just done the copies as they are. I just want that to be a little bit less and a little bit narrower, because I just want it to look like earmuffs, if you will, from the head of this snowman. And I just want to undo that because I've just flipped it around. I just need to make that ever so slightly bigger, and I'm going to rotate it a little bit more so that it's level and move it closer in to the head. And I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to edit and flip it on the vertical axes, and then I'm going to rotate it so I can fit it round on this side here, and that's like my earmuff. So now I'm just going to select this snowman here, and I'm going to group it, and then I'm going to shrink it. I'm going to group it, shrink it down a little bit and move it further in, closer to the biggest snowman, like so. And I'm just going to carefully just rotate it a little bit like so. Okay. And then I'm going to delete the hat. When I've undone that, I need to ungroup it, delete the hat, and I'm going to make a little bob cap, I think, from this one. So I'm just going to edit and ungroup that so I can get that piece that I've already made, because I'm just going to recycle this one. So I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to carefully bring it over to this, oh, not the head, got the wrong piece. This piece over here. I'm going to rotate it so that it fits on this one, like so. Just going to make it a little bit wider so that it does look like a bubble cap, if you will. I'm going to just drag that down a little bit, and we're going to position that here. I'm going to rotate it a little bit, and then I'm going to add a small part on the top for the hat itself. So I'm just going to choose a file for using for that, a shape, and I think I might go with this one. So I'm going to shrink it right down, rotate it round, move it into position, see what I'm thinking. I'm going to rotate it, I'll shrink it down again because it's a little bit big. So just shrinking it down, maybe making it a little bit less pointy upwards by dragging it down there. And we've turned it into a bobble hat now. So he's got a bobble hat on, that one's got a bobble hat on. I'm going to copy that. I know I've just deleted it on the other side, but I've decided to put it back on. I'm going to rotate it and shrink it, and I'm going to add this to this side here just to fill in not that bit much. I'm actually going to flip that one over, bring this one out. I'm going to put this back with the arm pointing towards, like so, and I'm going to flip that to make the scarf. So you can just play around with these files as much as you want. So I'm going to put the scarf in here, maybe rotate it a little bit like so, so that now she's got her ear muff. This is meant to be the girl one. Just going to make that a bit bigger. She's got her ear muffs on, he's got his little hat on, and so on. And I think we're okay at that. So you can play as much as you want. So then I want to select everything and group it. And I'm going to shrink it down, and I'm going to make it a little bit narrower because that won't matter. So it's a bit narrower, and I'm going to bring on a circle, and I'm going to resize the circle to about 7.5 inches, and I'm going to line them up to the vertical axes so that they're in the middle. And I've also lined that up, so I'll just move that away. And now I'm just going to select, I'm going to edit undo, I'm going to send the circle to the back, then click on the snowmen, and I'm just going to move them down a little bit because I want them to be further down nearer the bottom, and so that then I've got room in the sky for my snowflakes. I'm going to edit, and I'm going to process the overlap and subtract. So that's going to effectively punch out that. Actually, before I do that, I'm just going to edit undo. I'm going to do a duplicate so I've got a working copy of the file that's exactly the same size. And I'm just going to scooch that over just a little bit to take into account the scarf at this side. I'm going to select both again, edit, process the overlap and subtract. So now I've got my little family of snowmen, and I'm going to turn them black so you can see them like so. So that's my little stencil family, if you will. So next thing you're going to need to do is bring on that snowflake that you've saved from that file that I showed you. So the snowflake is in with the reindeers and the swirl is in with the coffee cup. So I've already selected them and saved them as just, hang on, I fetched the wrong one in. So undo that. So it's this one I want. I'm going to just bring in my snowflake and my swirl. I'm going to flip that on the vertical axis, and what I'm wanting to do is kind of make this look like a bit of a snow flurry on the bottom, if you will. So I'm just going to make it narrower like so, and I'm going to flip it on the horizontal axis, and I'm going to add a couple of those. Whoops, hit D on my keyboard, and I'm going to also move that so we've got a couple of little snow flurries underneath the snowmen. So again, now I need to select those two flurries that I've just put in. So I'm going to select that one and this one. I'm going to group them, and then I'm going to select the circle, edit, and I'm going to process the overlap, subtract, and that's effectively punching those out now, so that will just move as the one shape. The last thing I'm going to do for the file is add some snowflakes. So I'm going to put a couple of big ones. I need to bring that to the top like so. I'm going to add a couple of largish ones or larger ones and shrink it down, and maybe another one of these, this size one like so. Maybe just shrink that down just a little bit, and maybe duplicate that and bring it down here like so. Now I'm going to just increase the size a little bit because I don't want the scan and cut struggling to cut it out. Oops. Just going to select that one and make it a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to position them, and you could do a little star or something similar as well. So I'm going to select everything, I'm going to edit, process the overlap and subtract. So now we've got our little snowman family, and you can use these pieces now. If I break these apart, I could break the big snowman apart. So I need to make sure that we've got him edit, and if it won't break apart that way, we're going to try dividing him and see if that works. And now we've got the hat, so we can make that a colour. I'm just going to send that off. We'll make it a colour, so we could make that a dark blue hat maybe, and piece that in. So you could do this now and piece all the pieces back in, and we could do him a nice blue scarf to match. So we could take this scarf and turn it also blue, so he's got his nice matching scarf like so. So you could cut these and piece them into the colours of your choosing. You might make the little boy's hat green, and this one could be green too. Maybe a slightly different shade if you wanted to give it a little bit more dimension. I'm just going to see if I can select the two of those so I can move them together and just slot them into position. And we could do him a nice yellow scarf to make him bright if you wanted to. Doesn't have to be matching, you can do whatever colours you like. So there's his scarf going in, and obviously we'd get the carrot noses orange like so, and then we could just position those into the picture too, and it just builds up a really nice image of the snowman family. We could make the little girls earmuffs and like a pink colour because she's a girl. Not necessarily that girls have to wear pink, but that's kind of what I've got. And maybe make a scarf here. We'll do that one pink as well, and it could be a slightly deeper pink, and you can really go to town with this and do as much or as little as you want. So that's the snowman family. Now to make the card, so I will keep these separate as well for the file. So I'm just going to move, I'm just going to group these. I'm going to group them so that I can move them off to the side momentarily, and I'm just going to delete that one. So now for the card, we can see what size we've got. We've got a 7.5 by 7.5 inch card. Now at the minute, we're going to now move all these bits together. So I'm just going to group those for now and move it off to the side, because what we need now is a base card for this. Okay, so what we need to do is I'm going to select everything and group it, and then I'm going to resize it till it's about 5.75, like so. So that's what we're looking like now. So now I can bring in a circle. So I'm just going to bring in a circle from my basic shapes, nothing too scary, and I'm going to resize that to 5.9. Okay, so we'll resize that, and I'm going to have two of those. So I'm going to click off and hit D on my keyboard, and then I'm going to get the dimension of it again. So it's, and again now we seem to have done that thing where we've lost some of our things. So I'm just going to say snowman scene, and we're going to save it so that then I can refresh so I get my dimensions back. So I'm just going to refresh it like so, and then whoops, it comes back. You panic for a minute, but it does come back, and we know it's 5.9, so half of 5.9 we want a square that's that dimension. It's going to bring in a basic shape square, and I'm going to start off with it being 5.9 square, 5.9, like so, and then we're going to half that, so that will be, it would be 2.5 plus, so 2.95 is it? No, that can't be right, let me think. 58 would be 180, 280, 25. 3.95. That's right. 2.95, 2.95, yeah, is almost 590. That's exactly right. So I was right, my maths was right. It's been a long tiring day, and I've been to the hospital today with my bad leg, and it seems that I need to go for an MRI scan. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just make it longer, slightly longer than it needs to be, and actually I'm going to undo that, because I'm going to have it exactly, I think I want it to be, if anything, slightly less than that width. Okay, so I'm just going to line that up at the top and also in the centre. So what we've got now is a line that we're going to use for our scoring line there later. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to align everything to the centre, and then I'm just going to scoot that one up a little bit so it's well overlapping. Then I'm going to select both of the circles and I'm going to weld them together. So that's forming the base card. and then I'm going to click to make sure we've got that, and we're going to line that up to the top again. So we want the circle lined up to the top, like so, and then I'm going to use that. I'm going to click to expose the nodes. I'm going to click and minus that one, and then here, no, here, that one's the one that I need to get rid of. No, I've done it the wrong way around. Sorry, I'm thinking it's upside down. It's this one we need to keep. So again, I'm just going to edit, undo that, and redo, so that it's lined up again. Double click to expose the nodes. It's this line that we need to get rid of. I'm just going to move that so it's minus, and then it's this line we need to get rid of. So you just click on the nodes till it's the right one. That one's selected. Hit your watch glass, turn it to a cutting line and a perforating line, and that's created a circular easel card. View fit to mat. I'm going to select them both, the score line and that one, and I'm going to group them. And then all we need is a score line across here. So I've gone on the node tool. I'm going to hold my shift key down while I click and go across to the other side. Oops. When you get to the other side, double click to anchor, and again turn it into a cutting line and a perforating line. So your card is going to score in those two places, and then you'll have this layer on top. So I'm going to just group those together, and then we're going to create an offset for this one. So we need it to go outwards by about 0.12, possibly. Oops, edit, undo. So that is, if we look at that, we can just make it a bigger, slightly bigger. So we'll make it, do a circle that's 5.85 if you wish, and then it'll fit. You could do it exactly the same as these, and we had these at 5.91. So we need a circle with a 5.91 radius. So I need to find the circle, and we need it to maintain aspect ratio, change it to 5.91 because that's what it is, and say OK. And now that should fit perfectly on there, like so, when it's folded. And then you'll put this one on top. I mean, obviously this is going to be folded forward, and it'll actually be sticking to that one, but that's your matting layer. So let's make that a colour. We'll just change it to blue because we've got blue in the card. So that could be our matting layer. So this will be like this here and all that workings. And then bring this layer to the top, like so. And that would fit on there. Now, we actually, looking at this, thinking about it, we want that back layer to be white, don't we? So that the snowmen show through as white. So I'm just going to select it, change it to white, and then you've got your lovely snow scene of snowmen. So that's that one completed. So you could score that, have your circular easel card to display it on, and that's how you'd create your panel. So I'm just going to ungroup everything now so that it can be separated out for the cutting file. So I need to separate that from the parts and make sure that these are also separated into its individual parts. Edit and ungroup. And I'll just edit and go back to where we were for the sake of the video, because obviously I'll include the file in my blog as usual for a free download. So that is how we're looking for our 6th day of Christmas, our snowflake family scene. Right, I hope you've enjoyed the tutorial. If you have, please like, share and subscribe, and remember to tell your friends about my 12 days of Christmas. We've got, is this 6 or 7? I think this is actually the 7th. Did I say 6? 7th day of Christmas. So we're getting there. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye.